Hello YouTube, this is Brekke from BrekkeWrites, and this is a Brekke Reads book haul. Recently, there have been some sales on Bookoutlet, and I just couldn't help myself and bought a bunch of books. Now, not all the books that I purchased were for myself. I did buy a couple of thrillers for my husband and a couple of paperbacks for my older stepsons, but I am going to be showing you the books that I purchased for myself from Bookoutlet. Recently, I did a small independent bookstore haul, and I do want to support small independent bookstores, but I can't buy every single book from small independent bookstores. So these are some of the titles that I have been waiting to see come onto Bookoutlet, and since they were at Bookoutlet, they were on sale, I decided, what the heck, go ahead and get them. Many of them are in a series, and if they're in a series that I really enjoy, then I'm much more likely to purchase an additional book in the series, full price. Now, the first two books are in a series. I actually owned the first book and then got rid of it because I didn't think I'd read it, and now I think I will read it, so life is funny that way. And they are The Bone Season and The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. The Bone Season being the first one, and I actually had the original hardback cover with the eye and the kind of gold foil that was beautiful, and The Mime Order, which I believe is the sequel. I hope is the sequel. Now, as far as I can gather, this is an adult 7-part series about vampire angels and mediums. I'm not really sure how to make out the series. This is something that I think is pretty polarizing, but it is a series that I have been curious about. I purchased Angel Mage from Garth Nix at the very end of 2019. I was kind of curious to see what other contemporary fantasy novels deal with angels and if that's coming back. I do have ideas as a writer for an angels and demons kind of urban fantasy story, so I wanted to get a lay of the land. I also really enjoy following Samantha Shannon on Twitter, and I find her really interesting as a person. I also want to read Priory of the Orange Tree, but that thing is massive, so it is definitely not going to be happening in 2020, but I do have these two books, and while I'm not sure I necessarily will get to them this year, I would like to at least try to crack open The Bone Season and see what these vampire angels with mediums and stuff is all about. The next book I got from Bookoutlet was one that was highly anticipated, and that is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chachki. This is the first in a series that follows a sort of motley crew of beautiful, conniving, scheming young adults in the late 1800s. I believe it's mostly set in Paris in this book, and there is a heist situation going on. People love this book and are really looking forward to the sequel, and when I saw it go on sale at Bookoutlet, I jumped at the chance. Now, unfortunately, my copy has a Walmart sticker on it, so that's a total bummer, but if I really love it, I may buy a better, nicer, cleaner copy in the future. The next book I ordered was Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman. Now, Rachel Hartman wrote Seraphina and Shadowscale, which are a duology that take place before the events of this book. As far as I can tell, you don't have to read the Seraphina duology in order to read Tess of the Road, but you are spoiled for some things if you read this one. I saw this in an independent bookstore like a year and a half ago, maybe. I was traveling and I just was drawn in by this cover. I thought it was gorgeous. The dragon that is also the shadow and the smallness of the main character here against all of this, it just really drew me in. I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna wait to read Seraphina and Shadowscale and then read this, or if I'll just let myself be spoiled for some of the things and jump into this. I don't know. If you're someone who's read Seraphina and you've read Tess of the Road, comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are. Can I jump into this and still go back and read Seraphina? Do I have to read Seraphina for this to make sense? I would really like your opinion because I just really love this book. I was surprised to see it on Bookoutlet, and in somewhat of an impulse shopping, I added it to my cart, and I do really want to read this soon. The next book is another one that I actually saw at the same bookstore as Tess of the Road, and that is the Lanterns Ember. This is about witches and the other world and crossing bridges to the other world and potentially, I think, getting trapped there, and magic and the price of magic. This is by Colleen Houck. Sorry, Colleen, I'm not really sure how to pronounce your name. I apologize, but look at this cover. I mean, look at that. That is just really, oh, it's stunning, really not stunning in the beauty kind of way, but in the like, wow, I have to look at that again kind of way. This book drew me in by its cover. The premise about witches in the other world seems fascinating. I feel like this would be a really, really good one to savor in October when people are reading spooky reads. So for like $5 on Bookoutlet, how could I say no? Obviously, I couldn't. All right, the penultimate book that I ordered was We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Fazl. I think I said that correctly. This is a desert fantasy about a hunter on a quest for an ancient artifact, about the schemes and machinations of her autocratic father, and about the people that she meets that maybe change her minds about the world she lives in. This takes place in a fantastical Arabian setting. I'm very excited to read a fantasy book written by a Muslim woman of color. I am excited to support a debut author, and I'm excited to read a desert fantasy. I have not read a ton of desert fantasies. I know it's sort of its own subgenre, but I'm excited to read this one. It's gotten really positive reviews. I believe the sequel is coming out this year, so if I enjoy it, then I know what I will be picking up soon. And the final book that I ordered from Bookoutlet is one that has been super hyped, and some people have loved it and some people have not loved it, and that is Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. Now, this, as far as I can tell, is a sort of grim, dark retelling of Joan of Arc with a love-to-hate villain and hero dynamic going on. And I have heard a ton of buzz about this. The sequel is getting ready to come out. A lot of people really love it, but some people that I follow were really disappointed by it, surprisingly. There was a lot of energy as this was gearing up, and it had a really good debut, but again, it had mostly positive reviews with a couple of people who I trust saying it was good, it just wasn't as good as I hoped. So I am cautiously optimistic. I did wait to buy it on Bookoutlet so that if I was disappointed, I didn't spend the full price for a hardback, but if I love it, then I can order the sequel and support her with a hardback copy. I'm excited to see what the hype was about and whether or not this does or doesn't live up to the hype that has just been surrounding this book for the last several months. Okay guys, that is my Bookoutlet haul for January of 2020. Comment down below and let me know if you have read any of these books. If you have, did you like them? Would you recommend them? What were your favorites? What are some critiques you may have? Are there any that you are cautiously optimistic about? I think that's kind of my approach to reading this year. Cautiously optimistic about the books that I'm reading. That way my expectations aren't too high, so I won't get too disappointed if they aren't met. If you are a fan of Bookoutlet, let me know what has been the most recent book that you have purchased. Hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!